Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, traders. Steve here at LogicFX Trading, and welcome to our trading room recording on Tuesday, the 20th of July, 2021. Well, the slaughter continued yesterday, guys. Everything was dropping. Bond rates are dropping, gold's dropping, silver's dropping, equities are dropping, everything's going down. Hopefully, it's just a little scare before things continue on. Now, I have been saying all year that we would eventually get a correction of this move up. But I'm kind of hoping this isn't it, because I would like to be in a better position than what I am at the moment. I did move into some cyclicals, which are also getting hit. I moved into value stocks away from growth, which is also getting hit. And I moved into gold and gold miners, which are also getting hit, guys. So there's nowhere to hide, as they say. The good news is today, at least so far, there's green on the screen, as they say. It looks like we're getting a little bit of a reversal. There you can see it on the NASDAQ there. That's today. This was yesterday, folks. The 19th, and then we come into the 20th. Dates are down here, folks. So far in the futures and the NASDAQ, a little bit up, guys. Now, if you look at this, now we don't know if this is going to be repeated or not, guys. But sometimes you got to look for a little bit of hope. And when we started this move up, I copied this from over here. And the reason for copying it was just to say to people, listen, this is what I think is going to happen. It's going to go up. It's not going to shoot up, but it'll go up gradually the way it did back at the start of the year, guys, back in January. And that's exactly what it's done. Well, when I say exactly, I don't mean it's the exact match, because obviously that's not going to happen. But I mean it's moved in the manner in which I expected it to. Now, if you look at this, we had quite a dip there, and then prices moved on. What I'm wondering now is this just a bit of a dip before prices move on? Now, I've been listening to Bloomberg for the last, I listen to it every day, guys. It's on not 24/7, but it's on constantly. And I don't always tune into it, but the times that I do tune in, or if you hear it in the background, there's something interesting, you come and you sit and you listen to it. And they get all sorts of experts on all day long, guys, and asking them what their opinion is of what's happening and what they, as a fund manager, usually they're fund managers, sometimes CEOs, what they are going to do about it, how they see things develop and what they're going to do. Guys, very rarely do they ever agree. They agree on one point, but not in another. They might agree that, yes, this is going to happen, but what's the outcome of it going to be? Well, they might disagree on that, or they might agree that on what the outcome is going to be, but they disagree on how to go about, manipulating your portfolio in order to offset what's going to happen or take advantage of it. So there's no single way of trading, guys. There's no there's what it is. There's the silver bullet. That's what you got to do, and that's how you got to make. That's how you make money. It's a dance. It's a merry dance, guys. It's more art than science, although there's a lot of science in it, obviously, from the point of view of all the statistics are out there, and understanding when this thing happens, usually that thing happens. For example, usually when bonds fall, bond rates fall, you get an increase in your stock markets, but we're getting bond yields dropping like a stone, and the stock markets have been dropping. So what's the reason behind it? Well, the reason that they've given, and often the reason that they give isn't necessarily, when you look back, it wasn't necessarily the reason why something happened, but the Delta variant is scaring people. And I'll have another thought on that in a minute. And then obviously there's fear of growth and inflation, and therefore growth, and also headwinds, they call these things. And also there's the new government in America are going to start to put corporation tax up, and at some point the Fed's going to have to start to taper their bond buying, they're printing of money, and at some point they're going to have to start to increase the interest rate, all of which, take money off the bottom line of companies. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there that don't think that the amount of money a company makes has got anything to do with its share price. It does. It does, guys. Ultimately, it does. Because you can have a 600 price to earnings ratio because you think a company's going to grow in a certain way over the next 10 or 15 years. But when they start to get earnings that go in the opposite direction, you'll very quickly see that 600 drop like a stone. Reason being that people will sell the stock, guys. So that the underlying fundamentals of a company always come in to play, because ultimately that's what a company's there for. Excuse me, it's there to make money, not just there to grow. It's there to make money, guys. So it always comes down to how much money a company's making. So if the underlying fundamentals go askew, earnings will go askew, share prices will drop, guys. Okay. So what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for this to happen, and I'm hoping this is going to happen, guys, because it really pleased me an awful lot. And most people, because everyone I looked at, they're drawn down on this, guys. So I'm hoping that this move continues, and then maybe we get another one of these. Listen, one of those could possibly still be on the cards. It could dip and it can come down to here, but I'm hoping we get something like this. Now, why would that happen? Well, particularly for the NASDAQ, the reason that could happen is that if people are worried about this Delta variant to the extent that the economy's not going to open up again, then they could turn back away from the cyclicals that they thought, that they moved into. They could well go back into tech stocks. But tech stocks have been hit this week as well, guys, which is the reason why you see that drawdown there. But we'll have to keep an eye on that. The other big thing that we need to keep an eye on, because it's the big unknown, we know that the Fed are going to eventually taper. We know that interest rates are eventually going to go up. We know the US government are going to spend lots of money. The one thing the market doesn't know, and the market doesn't like the unknown, guys, is the effects of the Delta variant. Now, the Delta variant is playing out in the UK big and live and bold and brassy. So the UK, for me, is the place to keep an eye on. Because not only is it playing out in the UK, it's got the highest numbers, is it per capita or whatever way they work these things out, guys. There are tens of thousands of people every single day catching this Delta variant. The good news is that hospitalizations so far are way below what they would have been this time last year, and deaths are a lot less than what they were this time last year. So, or in the last spike, should I say. But the UK is highly vaxxed. It's something like 70%, guys. Now, I'm not sure if that's 70% double vaxxed or 70% with at least one vaccination, but it's high. And yet they still get this Delta variant going through the roof. The numbers are going through the roof. That's the litmus paper test, guys. That's a litmus test for me. If the UK gets through this without too much damage, in other words, they don't have to go back and lock the country down again, or the 4 countries to be correct, then that'll send a message to the rest of the world to say, hey, this Delta variant, so long as you've got a high percentage of vaccinated people, this Delta variant isn't going to do as much damage or as much damage as would be required for a new lockdown. The lockdown's the thing that the market fears, guys. So keep an eye on the UK, or we'll keep an eye on the UK, see how it plays out. And for me, if the UK dodges a bullet with this, in other words, they don't have to lock down again, then I think that'll send a message around the world, and you'll see that fear of Delta lifting, certainly in places that are highly vaccinated. And why people in the US, which is supposedly the biggest, the best, the greatest, you know what the US thinks about itself. Why people in a country like that are refusing to get vaccinated is beyond me, because maybe it's just not as big and smart and as intelligent and as what they think they are. And I know a lot of people in the US, listen in, I'm not knocking the US, I'm just stating the facts, guys. Why on earth are there so many people in a first world country, the first world country, refusing to get vaccinated? For goodness sake. Anyway, there you go. It's an education problem, basically, isn't it? And you would expect that in countries with poor levels of literacy or poor levels of primary, secondary education, but the US isn't supposed to be one of those. Okay, so there you go. That's a little moan for the day. Okay. So that's the NASDAQ. Dow Jones, nice big drop yesterday. Nothing more than what we're expecting. Wonder if it's going to come into there and start going, or is it the start of something bigger? Let's keep an eye on it over the next few days. I'm at the point where I don't know where to stick or twist, guys. And I flip-flop during the day as to which to do. Yesterday, I bought more. I bought the dip yesterday, guys. Added to things that I've already bought, because most of the companies I've already bought, I believe in. Now, if there's another massive drop, then I will be caught even more of it, guys. But if we don't have a massive drop, we start to grow again, then I've dollar average down, guys, on the prices that I've already bought. So we'll have to see how that turns out. We've still got about 40% in cash. So that's the Dow Jones. There's the S&P, actually gapped down yesterday. Nikkei, still within that. Now, one of the guys that was talking yesterday said that Japan was potentially a very good place to look for bargains. Unfortunately, on eToro, I can't trade any Japanese stocks, guys. But if you guys can, then it's something to look at. UK index, it's dropped to the bottom of this channel, guys. And we did say from there we would trade it long, but are we going to be brave enough? There's a little tick up today. I'm hoping that the madness is over. Okay, CAC, same little drop. German, little drop. We did say when we were up here, but dropped there, we'd trade it long. Are we brave enough? It's another place maybe you could find some value. Chinese hasn't moved much. Aussie rebounded. A little bit of a rebound there on the Russell. And yet again, when we were here, guys, I drew that and I drew that. I'm not planning to trade the actual index, but if you can trade US small caps, potentially there's a bit of upside coming there. And the dollar, I'm still waiting for my drop. If it goes much higher, it's going to hit my stop loss, but there you go. Euro, if we get the drop, we're still looking for that. Remember, you need to be patient with these things, guys. Pound, the Delta variant is putting pressure on the pound, which is okay, because the lower it goes, the further up it's got to come, guys. So we'll just keep an eye on Delta yet again. And if the figures for Delta, whether it's the hospitalizations, whether it's the death figures, whether it's the, if we reach peak and it starts to drop again, that's when you'll see a move up in the pound. So we'll keep an eye on that, guys. It's a potentially good opportunity setting up there. We don't know if we'll catch it or not, guys, but let's keep an eye on it just in case. The Aussie's pushing on down there. Still looking for it to go long, guys. This is all based on the dollar going short. If the dollar continues to go long, obviously these will all continue to go in the direction they're going at the moment. But I don't see a setup for that. So I'll not be trading it just yet. New Zealand, that'll be the same. We're looking for it to break out long. The CAD, listen, eventually, I'm not as keen on the CAD at the moment, guys, purely and simply because of the oil price. The oil price is coming off the top, which always forces the CAD short. But nonetheless, if the dollar starts to drop, then the dollar side of this will come down, will drop, and the CAD side will go up. But it won't be the best trade unless oil price turns around, and I can't see that happening immediately. This is a one to keep an eye on, guys. When this one goes, that's often an indicator for what's going to happen with the rest. Because for some reason, and I don't know the reason why, but for some reason this tends to move first. US yen, I'll be looking for that. Oh, no. That's the wrong way around. You're not looking for that. You're looking for it to drop, but I don't see a setup. Yes, Swiss, yet again, I am shorting this. I'm looking for it to drop. China, not so sure about that. That's why I have two arrows on it. Gold, starting to get a little bit of recovery in gold. I would not be surprised if gold got down to here before it started to recover, guys. But I'm heavily into it at the moment. I'm about 10% into gold at the moment. Between gold ETFs and individual companies, guys, I don't trade gold itself. It's a little bit expensive to trade, guys. There's a tiny little move in its price is a massive move on on any trade you have, and there's minimums for the amount of, for example, with I think with silver, you have to put $1,000 on, which is it's 5%, just under 5% of my account at the moment. We've got just over $20,000 account, guys. So I'm not putting 5% in one trade, and gold would be worse. So that's why we don't trade it. But we trade SLV. And there's another couple that were mentioned to me yesterday, PSLV and PHY. Oh, what was it? Let me pause you and find out what they were, guys. There they are there. PSLV, which brought physical silver, and PHYS brought physical gold. So these are based on actual owning the metal, guys. You don't have to own it, but the company has to own it. And that's a better hedge if you want it as a hedge. It's physical gold and physical silver is a better hedge than trying to either trade an ETF or individual mining companies, guys. So that's something I'll look into. Silver at the moment had that drop. Maybe I might put a little bit of money into that today. Or gold, PHYS, was it? HYS. I'm a little bit wary of this structure here, guys, because as you know, often you'll get this sort of thing and then you'll get another side. You can see it there. It's actually a lot further down there than the first one was. Took a while, came down, ran flat, and then dropped. This has come down quite sharply. It's possible that it's running flat for a little while and then it's going to drop again. So down there would probably be a better place to buy. The problem is that when you wait for that and it doesn't happen, then you miss it. Well, I say a problem, it's not really a problem, because you should always be buying things that do what you want them to do, and you're buying them at the price that you want them, rather than the price that you can get it at. You know, so if you want to buy a car, and you're smart, you don't go out and buy a car on hire purchase that's brand new. It's the latest model, the latest Tesla, whatever it is, because you're going to pay through your nose for it. And okay, at the moment interest rates are low, but you'll still pay a good whack on it. But can you imagine what interest rates are like normal times? I can remember living in South Africa and paying a car off over 3 years, and I paid for it twice, guys. I paid double. And I can remember a good friend of mine at the time, was a little bit older than me, probably a little bit money wiser than me at the time. I was only in my 20s. And he said, Steve, why don't you just save up and buy a car, cash, buy a second-hand car. Maybe it's a year old. It's off the, it's off the forecourt. You don't pay that dip when you drive it off the forecourt, and you're not paying finance. And you will save yourself thousands of, at the time, rands, thousands of dollars. And that's the smart way to buy anything, guys. It's the same with this. If it gets to the price that you're comfortable with, then buy it. And if it doesn't get to there, go and look for something else. Now, it's easier said than done, guys, but it's a good philosophy to have. Okay, silver. Silver's already at a good drop. Yet again, I'm waiting for it to get down to there. Why down to there? Well, 2 reasons. One is that it's closer to the bottom of the range that it may be in, and it comes down into there. Can it get further down? Well, it can, but if I get in there and it ends up there, I'm going to have an awful long ride down and back up again. If I wait to there, and there's a chance that it could turn there because this is a structure on its own, then that's fantastic. But if I buy here and it drops to there or to there, then it's going to turn out not to be a good plan. And you can also see there, you're always looking for equality, guys. If it's dropped that far there, the chances are it's going to drop that far that side. So what happens if it takes off from here? Well, it doesn't matter, guys. Then leave it. Now, as it turns out, I'm already in silver, but I'll not be adding to the position until it gets down. Bitcoin continuing to drop, guys. I actually bought into it yesterday. I've said for months I wouldn't buy it in the in this main portfolio here. I bought it in Coinbase, but yesterday I bought it in eToro as well, so it's in the portfolio. The reason I bought it was that if things go pear-shaped and we get a lot of inflation and you get a lot of stock prices dropping, I think Bitcoin will go up. And it's also less than half of what it was 3 months ago, guys, 4 months ago, 3 months ago. So let's not get greedy. You're getting it half price, less than half price. What's that? Nearly 60. So it's 60% cheaper than it was a way back. Now, I don't know if this is this set in 0? It's not set in 0. So maybe it's not as much as 60. Let's just do this again. So we're going to do a fib retracement of the whole price, guys, not just the impulse. So there you have, just over 50%, guys. And if it drops further, we'll add to the position. We'll only take a 1% position on it. Oil, it's a nice move down in oil, similar to what we said it would do, but I still think it will run flat. Where the range is the thing we've got to work out. I kind of said that's probably the range there. So it could well come down into there and then it'll run flat from there, I imagine. Euro Cad. Well, I missed that spike up, and that was due to the drop in the oil price, which pushed the CAD down. Looking for a setup there. Maybe looking for a setup. We'll see what happens to the oil price. If this gives the setup and the oil price continues further down, then that may well be a trade up. Aussie, it pushed on up further yesterday. We're going to have to wait for another setup, folks. I'm not particularly interested in any of these currency pairs at the minute, guys. I used to trade them all the time. And what I just do now is I keep an eye on them, and when I see something that's blatantly obvious or a really nice setup, then I'll have a go at it. Doesn't mean you're still going to get it right. It just means the probability of getting it right is a lot higher. And when central banks start moving on their EQ, quantitative easing, QE, and they start hiking rates, then we'll start to see predictable moves in currencies. And at the minute, they're not that predictable, guys. Euro New Zealand, same thing, guys. It's come up, but it's come up the top of that channel. I'd prefer, yet again, when it was here the last time, and guarantee I drew that, and then I drew that. Now, I didn't trade it, but nonetheless, I'll just do the same thing. If it drops again, that will be the place to get into it. Euro Yen. Now, I've got these pointing in this direction, but I'm not 100% sure on this one, guys. Reason being that if the risk off continues, you will see a further push up in the yen. And we'll go back to the chart we looked at over the last lot of weeks and months, where we've been calling this long. I don't know if this is the start of it going, but it's certainly moving in the right direction, guys. And yet again, this will depend on whether the stock market continues to crash or the stock markets continue to short, let's put it, or correct rather than crash, continue to correct, then this will continue to go up. But if they reverse and start to recover, then you'll see this continuing to drop. And therefore, for that reason alone, I'd be wary of trying to jump into this and trade it long. If the stock markets start coming up, then this could turn out to be a good trade. Euro Swiss, same thing here, guys. If we get a move back into the stock markets, then you'll get the risk off situation, or sorry, risk on so far as the markets are concerned, and you'll get this coming up. Pound CAD. Too many unknowns. Pound odds. Listen, if the pound, we're looking at the pound dropping, guys, but because of what the oil price is doing, I don't think this is the best one to take. Pound Aussie, maybe there's a trade down there, folks. Pound New Zealand, it's already moved, so I'm not overly, keen on it. It could do something like that. I'd prefer to have taken it from near the top. Remember, we're in 4 hours here, guys. If you go down a little bit further, sometimes you get better setups. I don't know if that was a setup or not. It's been tough going, guys. You can see you're really looking for impulses. There's a nice impulse there. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Although we had that in the end, so I don't know if you want to include that or not. Don't sweat too much about wave counts, guys. When they're obvious, they're obvious. Now, Pound Swiss, yet again, when you get that, and then you get that. And there you go. This is one that from up there would have been a nice trade to take. I'm not so sure whether taking it there is going to do you any good or not. Pound Euro. Well, there's the Euro strengthening up against the pound. Now, this is all down to Delta variant, folks. So yet again, possibly ABC. I know it's a little bit elongated, guys. If it gets down into there, maybe we'll look to trade it up, because by the time it gets there, maybe everybody realises that Delta variant isn't as bad as they're all worried about. Pound yen, yet again, that direction, guys, but I don't see a setup there. Obviously, we were looking for the opposite before we got all the worries about Delta variant and the market starting to drop. So, short, but that's, for me, there was no real setup for this, guys, so difficult one to get into. Aussie yen, yet again, the yen's pushing down. Wouldn't be as keen in this one because the Aussie may well just come back up again, guys. Aussie New Zealand. Let's see what happens, whether it pushes on up or not. I got stopped out in this trade earlier in the week. Took it there and then got stopped out down there, not starting to recover. Let's take her out to 4 hours, try and get some sort of sense of what's going on with this thing. It's probably short, but you could get a move up first. So I would take the short, but let it climb first. Aussie Swiss, same thing with the Swiss. But yet again, there's the move, guys. You're getting into the tail end of it, no point. Aussie Cad. Let's see if there's a setup on this. It's going down to the 1 hour. Now, when we got to there, we said either look for a flat or look for a, some sort of correction on it. So put a flag, potential flag coming in there, guys. So just maybe there's a trade up. I'm not going to take any of these, by the way, guys. I'm not overly enamored by any of them. Swiss yen, still looking for a bit of downside to that. Not because I want to trade it down, but simply because I want to see the completion of that zigzag. And then when the gold price starts to spike up, you could well see that happening. Does it have to do that? No, that's just what we're looking for, guys. Cad Swiss. Now, this is my favorite trade. I've traded this more often than anything. So far, I'm 100% correct on it. When it was here, I said I'd wait for it to drop, but I was kind of hoping it would drop down into there. It's broken that. So I'll let it develop a little bit. We'll see what the oil price is doing. We'll see what happens with the stock markets when they reverse. In other words, when the drops finishes, starts to come back up again, you'll see this coming back up. So don't be jumping in there, guys, because we don't know that that's going to happen. Cad yen, same thing. Although it did say if it got down into there, possibly look to trade it long. But let's wait for the turn. Don't jump in. Don't catch the falling dagger, as they say. Wait for it to finish. Wait for it to show us something. And then you look to trade that. New Zealand yen. Also dropping, but eventually we could see that. But it depends how far this goes. So we'll let it drop. We'll let it start to show as it's coming up. And then we'll trade it up. New Zealand CAD. Yet again, this is going to be determined by the oil price. So I'd look for a setup on this. And then maybe look for that. That's the same as with the Aussie CAD, guys. I'll go back to the Aussie CAD. On the 1 hour. had a correction. I'm looking for that. And then New Zealand Swiss is our last one. I'd like to see a bit more downside to it, and then we'll look to see if it's going to recover. Reason for that is we're looking for a zigzag, guys. Okay, nothing yet again too exciting, nothing there to write home about. We're just waiting to see what's going to happen with the stock market. If it settles itself down, maybe there's going to be a few trades in there, guys. And obviously every day I'm still spend most of my time looking at stocks. These blue stocks are the ones I'm in at the moment. The purple ones are ones that I've been in and I've sold out of over the last 6 months or so. So what I do every day is I go through these as well, guys. Obviously, look at the charts of the ones I'm in, but then I go and look at the charts of things that I've sold to see, are they at a better price? Have they come back lower than where I sold them? And are they worth getting into? Well, there's AbbVie. If we're going to start getting a recovery, then this is a good place to get into AbbVie. I'm just not sure that that's what we're going to see today, so I might just hold my keep my powder dry with that one. And when you look at these as well, I can't remember exactly when I got out of all of these, guys, but with this one possibly away over here somewhere, so saved myself a lot of money there. Maybe lost money there because that one's moved up. AMD, is this a buy opportunity? That's going to open up. See the pre, that's the futures there, guys. This is going to open up. Is this the start of the next move up? Is that the correction and that's the move up? Quite possibly. So I'll be keeping an eye on these, guys. Look at that. So that came in at the end of the day yesterday. Unless that's American Well Corporation. Now, health stocks at the moment seems to be something that a lot of the fund managers are talking about. And that was a health fund there, guy. ASML, Aviva, American Water. I wouldn't bat there, guys. AstraZeneca. Is AstraZeneca going to get a boost because of the Delta? Bank of America. Banks aren't looking too good at the minute, guys, particularly with bond rates dropping the way they are. Blink. BP. Not with the oil price dropping. Signia. Nearly bought that yesterday. Yeah, but I would have bought it there. Coinbase. Ridiculous valuations, guys. Costco. Oh, look at Costco, guys. That's not a place I would buy anything. Only buy when you get a cheaper price. Copine. I bought this over here, guys. The day after the IPO'd. And it just messed me around, and eventually I sold it for a small loss. I'm glad because it would have still been in the loss. CRM, potentially. CRISPR. Okay, this one as well. This was one of the Archegos trades, guys, where Discovery got dumped. So I bought it in here, thinking it would make some sort of recovery, and after a few weeks, I just got rid of it. Small loss, I think, as well. DraftKings, I've been in that now. DocuSign, made some good money in that. I can't remember, but I caught a good one, and that might have been there. eBay. Anyway, we'll spend more time on these guys. Maybe do a separate video when we're in buying mode. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Speak to you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.